Okay, so the red dots which you see here, they are the carbons of the earlier chain, and as you can see here, this bond, this electron transfer happened here. So this bond will actually now move because the electrons has moved from here to this positive charge, which we see here, right? So now there will be a new bond formation, and let me show with a different shade. This will be how it is done. And because it has lost a positive, because it was having a positive charge here, and that is lost, I mean positive charge here, but now the electrons being shared by the, or electrons which were part of the bond, even because the bond has broken, so the electron has been lost. So there will be a positive charge on this carbon. So the positive charge which was here has now shifted to the adjacent carbon. Always remember, it will be the adjacent carbon where this positive charge will shift. What do we see here is something like this, and now this structure is having strain in the bond. Bonds are not spread in the way that it can avoid the strain. So in order to avoid strain, now this bond will again rearrange, and as you can see here, now it's a ring with 6 carbon, and that's why it will change to another geometry where it will form a hexagonal ring. So now the strain has gone, but there is still this carbon with the positive charge here. So the positive charge, which was, yes, see, I'll explain from the beginning itself. This is how it gets the what we see here, right? This is how it gets the positive charge, the first carbon, from where the chloride has gone. Now in the second step, I said that this nearby bond has electron, and that electron can compensate this positive charge. How? By losing electron and by forming a bond. So the electron will be lost. Suppose that means this particular carbon, this will take 2 electrons, and what will it do with those 2 electrons? It will form bond with this carbon. That is, say this is C1 and this is C3. So C1 and C3 will now form a bond. So this is C1 and this is C3. They are forming bond. C2, which was here, that is as it is. So they have formed bond. Now, obviously, what, from where did C3 got its electron? It got its electron from C2, right? So C2 has lost its electron. So because C2 has lost its electron, so that's why that C2 will have a positive charge now. So the positive charge which was there on C1 has now shifted to C2, right? And a bond is formed between C1 and C3. That's done. But now there is no, or it is obviously more stable than the, suppose if this is first structure, this is second structure, then this is the third structure. So bond has shifted here. Here bond shifting has happened. The bond has shifted between C2, C3 to C1, C3. So the bond was between C1, C2, C3. Now it has changed from there to C1, C3. So bond shifting happened, but what happened with that? Now strain is introduced. Now this strain has to go. By what? By arranging or rearranging the geometry of this. So instead of forming a irregular hexagon like this, a regular hexagon will be formed. And as you can see, this is still our C2, that is carbon with the positive charge. So again, what happened? Positive charge has moved from C1 to C2, that is its adjacent carbon, right? This is again called the bond has shifted as well as the obviously positive charge will shift. That's what we have seen or observed in all of these rearrangements. Positive charge also shifts from one position to second position or the nearby position. So now check the stability of this positive, this carbocation. If there is a positive charge here, first, there is no strain. Second, there is a carbon here, there is a carbon here. So obviously it is more as compared to this, which was having only hydrogen and hydrogen in this C1. This C1 was connected with only 2 hydrogens and 1 carbon, but here this C2 is connected with 2 carbons. So that's why this is more stable. And because this is most stable, that's why the product which will be formed will be derived from this. The OH which has to attack, right? This OH will actually attack this position. So the product which will be formed finally will be this. The final product will be this. So actually it was cyclopentane, but the final product which we got is cyclohexane, right? So this is what bond shift is. And this is an example of bond shift in carbocations. Now as lower alicyclic, this is aliphatic as well as cyclic. Aliphatic means it's not aromatic, it is aliphatic having a cycle. So this is alicyclic compounds, or as lower alicyclic hydrocarbons are commonly used in organic chemistry. So these general cases of rearrangements of cyclic carbocations should be, you should remember different cases of the rearrangements of these cyclic carbocations. So it is better to remember them. It is better to practice as much as you can in different cases, and so that you can remember these whenever it is required. You don't have to start from fresh, right? So I am actually giving you this screenshot of some common or some most important rearrangements which you will see in your organic chemistry. Right? So these are the different cases of rearrangements which you will observe. And I'll anyways send the screenshot and recording of this class as well. So you can rewrite these in your notes to understand this well. And practice it by writing. Don't just see this. You will have to write these structures to understand well. Right? So here we have mainly focused on stability due to hydrocarbon and eye effect. In most of the cases which we have seen the stability due to eye effect. The examples which were there were stability due to eye effect, but there will be cases where you will get stability due to resonance or stability due to plus M group present in the molecule, right? So all these things are also possible. So such possibilities are also there. So that was about the.
So as you do organic chemistry, there are some terms like meta-directing and ortho-directing groups, right?
Yes. We'll come to.
Is it based on this principle?
No. This is something else. This is only the rearrangement. It has nothing to do with that. That ortho directing and para direct. Ortho para is one group, and meta directing is another group. So that we'll see when we'll study electrophilic substitution reaction.
Okay. So one more doubt.
Yes.
So what's the difference between the I still didn't understand what is mesomeric effect. The difference between resonance and mesomeric.
Resonance is as we the only one difference is there, that is in resonance you can show the movement of electrons in any direction, right? It was mostly the pattern which we have seen, A double bond B single bond C, and on C there were multiple bonds or charges and all. In all those things the shifting was, I mean it was mostly the structures were in such a way that you can shift right or left, right to left. But when there is something else attached to that particular of conjugation, it causes the electrons to move in one particular direction, either towards that group or away from that group, right? Then that is called mesomeric effect. So mesomeric effect comes into place when resonance is accompanied by some electron
Substituent group
or electron donating group. Yes.
donating group.
So it's like combination of plus I effect and resonance effect. I mean, not just plus I effect and resonance effect.
Okay.
Right. So resonance is still there, but if there is a electron withdrawing group or electron donating group, due to that, the direction of movement will be biased or will be affected.
Okay.
That is called plus
yes.
or minus.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So now next is, I think that was about the carbocations. That's all about carbocations. This is an important thing which you will see, and it's better to, generally I don't advise you to by heart something, but in organic chemistry, few things if we can by heart, it makes our life easier. So better to do this, better to remember those pictures in your mind, that nitrogen has 3 lone pairs or 2 lone pairs and all those things, right? So same way, these rearrangements, if you remember, it is good. Same way, those 13 different cases of resonance, if you remember, it's good for you. Let's move to next topic, that is carbanions. So the name itself suggests carb anions, that is carbon with negative charge. Very few compounds, it will be rare, and not rare, it will be very less as compared to carbocations. The occurrences of carbanions will be very less as compared to carbocations. Obviously, we have discussed the reason earlier, that in carbocations, carbon gets positive charge. For that, it has to be attached to a electronegative substitute, which are easily available. Mostly all the most of the elements in the organic chemistry which you will see, that is halogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, all are more electronegative as compared to carbon. So in such cases, if there is a cleavage of bond, carbon gets positive charge. Very rarely you will have, or very few compounds you will have where the carbon will get negatively charged, because in that case carbon has to be attached to a more electropositive element. Mostly they are metals, right? So carbanion is defined as an organic anion with a pair of available electrons represented by a negative charge on trivalent carbon atoms. So charge on carbon comes only when a bond breaks. Out of 4 bonds, 1 will break, 3 will remain. That's why it is called trivalent carbon, and on that there will be a negative charge, right? So that's why it is difficult to find, or its occurrences is very less. So suppose there are these different alkyl groups, it may be even hydrogen, and there is a negative charge on this carbon, right? That is due to electron. So there is a vacant orbital here, not vacant orbital, there is a orbital here having only electron, not paired with any other atom. This is what carbanion looks like. Now, for a general organic molecule with CX bond, if carbon has greater electronegativity than that of X, if suppose there is a bond like this, if it is more electronegative as compared to this, then when the bond breaks, you will get C negative. So, but for that, this has to be present where carbon is more electronegative. Now, similar to carbocations, carbanions may also be primary, secondary, or tertiary. Just like carbocation, again here you have possibilities of getting 1 degree, 2 degree, and 3 degree carbanions. That is primary, secondary, or tertiary, depending on the nature of carbon, right? So, for example, it can be just CH3 negative, which is primary, or it can be CH3 negative, sorry, CH3, CH2 negative, right? That is secondary, or it can be CH3, 2CH3 attached to a CH negative, or it can be 3CH3 attached to a carbon which has a negative charge. So this is tertiary, this is secondary, and these two are called primary. Though carbanions are species with complete octet, right? Obviously, these are the species having complete octet. Even then, they are very reactive species due to the negative charge which is there on carbon. And because there is a negative charge on carbon, so that's why they will also behave as Lewis base or acid. The species with negative charge or more electrons are Lewis acid or Lewis base. Answers. Anyone?
So can you repeat the question?
As I said here, all the carbons are having negative charge, right? In the carbanions.
Yeah.
So are they Lewis acid or Lewis base? If I have to divide it into or keep it into one of these categories, then shall I keep it in Lewis base category or Lewis acid category?
Base.
Lewis base. Electron donors are base, Lewis base. Okay, so that's why they behave as Lewis base due to negative charge. So don't forget these simple points because they are very important. Now, how are these carbanions formed? So next is formation of carbanions. So we have seen for carbocations as well. Similar thing is here. Formation of carbanions can be found by many ways, but the most important ways which we will see in our most of the reactions are like this. The first one is removal of alpha hydrogen of aldehydes or ketones by base. So let me write the reaction first so that you can understand. So aldehydes or ketones. So suppose let us take a aldehyde. So this is an aldehyde. When it is attacked by a base having OH negative, right? So that is the base. Now this base having OH negative will take away the hydrogen, the alpha hydrogen. What is alpha hydrogen? This is the group. This one is the functional group. So this is not the alpha position. Alpha position is this. This carbon is the alpha position. So hydrogen will be removed from this, and then we get the intermediate will actually look like this. C double bond O CH2, and because hydrogen has left with what? With OH negative, so there will be a negative charge on this carbon. This is how we form, or this carbanion is formed. So let's write it properly. This is by removal of alpha hydrogen of aldehyde or ketone by a base. Because hydrogen has to get removed, so there must be a base for that. That will take away the H plus. Right. Next. Cases like this are, so there is a carbon here, and after that there is a triple bond. Right. Now this hydrogen is called terminal alkyne, the reaction of terminal alkyne, and when this reacts with sodamide, so there is something called sodamide, that is NaNH2. If it is NH3, it is ammonia. If it is RNH2, it is amine, because now the one of the R is removed and it is attached with sodium, so that's why it is sodamide. Right? So this sodamide in presence of liquid NH3, that is ammonia, yes, the first one is principle for aldol condensation. So all these mechanisms which we are seeing here, you will find reference of all these mechanisms in the 3 or 4 chapters of your organic chemistry of class 12. And that's why I said, if you understand these mechanisms, the class 12th organic chemistry becomes easy for us. Right? So now what happens in this case is, this is a reaction which you will have to understand. I mean, just remember this for the time being. Now this carbon, which is here, that will have a negative charge, and the H, which was here, that will come here, and sorry, this was NH2, right? This will get attached to that, and it will form NH3. So what can we write about this? This is a reaction of terminal alkynes. I hope you understood what I mean by terminal alkyne. Terminal alkyne means that the triple bond is at the end, terminal, right? So terminal alkyne plus sodamide. That is the second way or second method of preparation of or formation of carbanions. We don't prepare carbocations or carbanions. It gets formed. So that's why here we have said formation of carbanions, not preparation of carbanions. Right. Now next and the most important thing which we will find is that this alkyl having bond with sodium. So now sodium is something which is more electropositive as compared to carbon. So in such cases, we will get CH3, and on CH3 there will be a negative charge, right? So, and obviously plus Na negative, sorry, Na positive. Right, this first one, as you can see, when, as we have already discussed, this can happen, a carbon can get negative charge when there will be a heterolytic cleavage, and the attached atom should be more electropositive as compared to carbon. So sodium, magnesium, these are some examples. So generic statement for this will be that it is heterolytic cleavage of carbon metal bond. And such compounds which have carbon and metal bond, they are called organometallic double L compounds. So whenever there is a cleavage of that, you will get a compound having negative charge on the carbon. Now this reaction is actually reversible reaction. So again, because they are very highly reactive, both are highly reactive, Na plus is highly reactive and CH3 negative is highly reactive. So again, they'll combine and form this. So this is actually a reaction which is reversible reaction. Now,
So,
yes,
can you explain the second one again? The second step, the second preparation.
this one, terminal alkyne.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that if there is a triple bond at the end, right? So the hydrogen is attached to a carbon which is having a triple bond. So such hydrogens can be easily removed from that particular compound due to a lot of electron cloud at.
So when you say H is getting removed, doesn't it become C plus?
H will be removed, leaving its electron here as H plus. So from here, what is getting removed is not H, it is actually H plus. So that means what? H has lost electron to what? Carbon. So carbon is having that extra electron. That's why carbon is having this charge.
Oh, okay.
Right? And that H plus will now replace this Na in NaNH2. Right? So what happens here actually is this H plus will now combine with this Na and H2, and this will give you now Na plus plus NH3, and then Na whatever is there, right, NH3 or something else, Na will again react with that. So our major concern is about this compound, that what we get, this is the our major product, right? So
Yes.
that was the second step. Third was heterolytic cleavage of carbon metal bond, and the fourth one is this we are going to study in detail later. So right now I'll just write it and we'll give you some explanation, not the reaction. That is decarboxylation of salt of carboxylic acid So when we'll study the carboxylic acid chapter, then we'll come to this reaction again in presence of soda lime. So when salt of carboxylic acid, the carboxylic acid is what? Carboxylic acid is C double bond O OH. It's salt. That means this OH will get removed and it will be some other component which will get attached here. So that is called salt of carboxylic acid. when that is heated in presence of soda lime, decarboxylation takes place, right? And when electron withdrawing group is attached to the beta position of carboxylic acid, beta position is, suppose this is COH, so this is alpha position, and then next will be the beta position, right? So if there is electron withdrawing group attached in that position, then the loss of CO2, decarboxylation is nothing but loss of CO2. Where is CO2? CO2 is here. So this gets removed, and when this will get removed, this particular R will have a negative charge. So we'll see this in detail when we will come to decarboxylation in the carboxylic acid chapter, because this is very specific reaction, and you will get only one example of this. So that's why we'll study only when it comes in our that chapter of carboxylic acid. Next is if suppose there is compound like this, that is doubly bonded carbon in conjugation with strong electron withdrawing group. So there is a doubly bond carbon here, and in conjugation with a strong electron withdrawing group. So this is a electron withdrawing group, and this is in conjugation with the carbon here. So when that happens, and when it is being attacked by a nucleophile, so nucleophile means this itself will be negative or having lone pair of electrons. So it will attack this, and what we will get in such cases is that this nucleophile will now, it is the same thing, right? Now the nucleophile will attach itself to this carbon, and the bond has broken. The double bond has broken, and that's why this carbon will have the negative charge. Again, this reaction we'll study in detail later. What is important here is when there is a nucleophile which attacks a doubly bonded carbon which is in conjugation with a strong electron withdrawing group. Attack of nucleophile to double bonded carbon which is in conjugation with a strong electron withdrawing group, that is in this case oxygen. So that is how these carbanions are formed. Now the same factors which were affecting stability of carbocations, the same factor will be affecting stability of carbanions as well, but because here carbon is having a negative sign, so that's why whatever was increasing the stability of carbocation, that will actually now decrease the stability of carbanion. Simple, because there it was carbon having positive charge, here carbon is having negative charge. So if plus I effect was, what was plus I effect doing? A carbon having positive charge, plus I will actually send its electron towards that positive side. So thereby stabilizing the molecule or neutralizing that particular carbon. In this case, if that will happen, a carbon already having a negative charge, and if there is a plus I effect, then due to that plus I effect, the electron cloud will increase more or will get more dense at that negatively charged carbon. So that will now actually decrease the stability. So in carbocation, plus I effect increases stability. In carbanion, plus I effect will decrease stability. Same thing for resonance. Minus M effect will here now increase the stability. Right? And same thing for inductive effect. Plus I effect of alkyl group destabilizes the carbanion. Minus I effect of alkyl group of any group stabilizes the carbanion. Right? So these are the different or you can say ways in which the stability of, or this is how stability of carbanion and stability of carbocations are related. So next and the last topic in this sequence is free radicals, which we'll see in the next class. Any doubt till now in carbocations and carbanions?
No, sir.
Okay then. So I'll send the recording and even the screenshots. So if somewhere if the recording is missing, at least you will have the screenshots.
Yes.
Okay. I'll, as you said, I'll create a Google group for that and I'll share it with you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So you need an email, right?
Yes, I'll need that. So you can send me on my WhatsApp. Send your email IDs.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay then.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.